Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So I decided to do something different and do a Q&A. It's been nearly 2 years since the last one we did, so I wanted you guys to pick my brain and file your questions on this community post. And thank you for all the questions. Only like 4 hours in, I already got like 200. So for the fairness and concise nature of this video, I'm just gonna scroll down and read the first ones as they pop up, and we'll keep it simple like that. So let's see what kind of questions you asked this goofy dude right here. So first question, you've covered VTubers in anime, but would you consider covering Monster Girl roleplay ASMR artists? Well, I have to say that sounds pretty fun, but I've learned a lot about ASMR over the past couple of years, and that's from a pretty obvious reason. That's because my fiance owns an ASMR channel on YouTube. And I didn't know anything about ASMR before I met her, but now I'm pretty knowledgeable. And one of the things I actually really like about ASMR is the creative writing aspect of ASMR, especially with anime roleplay type stuff. Like, you can come up with anything, right? The sky's the limit. You can imagine it, you can write it type of a thing. Like, literally, right now I'm doing it. Monster Girl takes you to your psychiatrist to pick up your schizo meds. ASMR. Bam, there's an idea. Yandere Girl slowly crushes all of your teeth one by one. ASMR. Think about the fun crunching noises. Like, boom, easy script. But it may surprise you guys. Like, I'm not like the smartest guy in the world, but I did really well in school because I consider myself a very good writer. It is a great skill to have. It allows you to convince people that you're a lot smarter than you are when you know how to structure what you're saying. And when I see the kind of creative aspect of ASMR, especially anime-oriented ones, I think there's a lot of fun possibilities with it. And the script writing aspect of ASMR stuff is pretty fun. And honestly, if I had more free time, maybe I'd make scripts like that. But yeah, Monster Girl roleplay ASMR artists, like, that sounds pretty fun to me. Maybe another time. But next question, it says, what made you get into covering and exposing topics and dramas? And when will people learn the definition between lolly and lolicon and pedophilia? Well, to answer that last question, never. The terms lolicon and pedophilia, we already know everyone just mixes those together even though they're not the same thing. But even lolly and lolicon, people just will never learn the difference. I mean, they'll still feel comfortable calling people pedos over it, but they use the terms lolly and lolicon interchangeably, which makes literally no sense. Like, they'll go onto Twitter and make a tweet that says lollies are pedos, and they'll get 10,000 likes. When you actually like realize what they're saying that a fictional character is a pedo because they don't know that lolly and lolicon is different, because lolly is a fictional character and lolicon can be a fictional character, but it means someone who enjoys lolly hentai, and that's all there is to it. That could be a real person or a fictional character, but lolly is just a fictional character body type. That's it. So when they use lolly instead of lolicon, it just instantly doesn't make any sense. But are we surprised? No, we're not. But this first question, what made you get into covering and exposing topics and dramas? Honestly, I just find it interesting. I mean, I'm not really a person who was ever really interested in doing like anime reviews and that type of thing. And I really got burned out on making memes and shit posts a couple years ago, and I wanted more. I didn't know what it was for a while. It took time to kind of get into that, but the thing that I really like to get into, especially with a lot of the Twitter stuff, is hypocrisy. It's like my biggest pet peeve and annoyance in the world is when people are being hypocrites. And I think in any aspect of life, whether it's Twitter freaks to politicians to the media or anything, there's always so much hypocrisy. And you can do a lot of things in life. You can be a pretty bad person, but I'm pretty convinced nothing makes you look worse than being a hypocrite. You can be wrong, you can be a jerk, you can be whatever, but if you own it and you stay consistent, you will not look as bad as being a hypocrite. Trust me. I've done this a lot of times. Being a hypocrite is the worst thing you can ever be, and I just really enjoy pointing that out when I can. But moving on to the next question. Not a question, but I just wanted to know how much I respect you for your opinions and stay true to your principles. It really helped me on how to express my opinions with other. All in all, I'm glad I found your channel, and may you bless you with a healthy life. with your loved ones. This is totally not scripted. This is not a plant. This is not my alt account trying to hype me up. But very nice words. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, guess going back to the hypocrisy thing, like having principles is something that I take very seriously. I like having very clear principles and stances on things, and I don't like to waver just so I can make people happy, you know, but I appreciate that. Oh, look, another nice one. Not asking anything, but letting you know, thank you for the videos. I enjoy listening while I'm driving or doing work. See, I like that comment. I get that a lot. People just listen to whatever I'm doing while they're driving or they're working or whatever. And that's a pretty cool compliment. And I'll, you know, I don't want to get too mushy here, but for most of my life, I was very insecure about my voice. I thought I had a very bad voice and that people would never want to listen to it. It was one of the reasons why I took so long to start doing commentary videos. Well, yeah, as it turns out, I guess most people like my voice, and I get probably the most compliments I get are about how my voice sounds. So that's cool, and comments like this are always a nice reminder of that, so I appreciate that. But on to the next one. Did any controversies you covered escalate to the point that you worried for your own or your associates' safety? Now, when it comes to covering like a lot of people being attacked by aunties or whatever, you never really know if the threats are real because it's just the nature of the internet. It's different when you're not seeing people face to face. But personally, when I read that, I can think of one instance maybe like 6 or 8 months ago where I covered a OnlyFans girl who was being psychotic, and perhaps unsurprisingly, her community was just as psychotic. And after I made a video goofing on her, her community started posting my docs onto Twitter, and at a very quick glance, I wasn't worried that it was my docs. It looked kind of like one of my family members' docs, their home. It was a picture of their home. And after about 10 seconds of, you know, calming down and realizing, no, it's not the same house, I, you know, came to my senses. But it's like the idea that even people would post someone else's docs it's crazy to me. But generally, I don't worry about these things. You know, I'm kind of in a place of privilege, I guess, where I have a big enough following and I guess a reputation where people are not as inclined to mess with me in terms of my safety or going after my channel or things like that, especially when it comes to other content creators, because they know I have enough reach and influence. I mean, I'm not the biggest channel in the world, but I can make hell for people if they're trying to escalate things to a really serious level. So I guess in a way it does protect me, because a lot of the people who get really bullied and threatened are smaller content creators because they don't have as much say and they can't get their voice out there when things go wrong. But good question. We'll move on to the next one saying, do you ever plan to continue more goofy videos like your Smash or Pass saga? I can't imagine covering endless Twitter screw-ups is very fun. On a mildly related note, do you think an Elden Rich horror based on Twitter would work? I have absolutely no idea. I might need a couple hits of something before I can say that. But this first question is a very valid one, and I'm self-aware, okay? Like, this is something that may shock people on the outside, but I think if you've been around here long enough, you probably know I'm relatively self-aware, okay? I know I talk too much about Twitter. I am very aware, and it's not the most healthy thing in the world to constantly focus on Twitter freaks and nonsense coming from Twitter. It is mentally draining, and it's not something that I want to do over and over again, and I do too much of it right now. So yes, I do want to move on to more other stuff. I think we need to kind of turn the page and do less of Twitter, your typical Twitter drama type stuff. And I really do enjoy doing like the Smash or Pass videos and things like that are more lighthearted. I was thinking in the future we could do more like videos reacting to memes or funny videos or whatever, because they are a nice break. And also, I thought about this. Maybe I'll kind of see feedback, but I also thought about maybe posting some VODs onto YouTube. VODs coming from my Twitch channel, where, you know, the vibe is completely different. If you've been to my Twitch streams, you know things are completely different. People, when they first come there, typically are like, whoa, this is a different vibe. And mainly because it's chill. Like, we don't really talk about drama or anything negative. Like, we just go on and, like, do an anime girl tier list and, you know, talk about that. Talk about some anime titties or something, you know? It's very light mood, relaxed, drama-free, and I think, honestly, those would be valuable to upload onto YouTube. I don't know. I don't want to, like, bog down my channel with VODs on top of the daily videos already, but who knows? I'll see what people think about that, so if that's something you guys like, you know, speak up about that. But very good point. I'm aware that I need to cut back on the Twitter videos a little bit, so fair point. Definitely a fair point. Next question. What is the first anime you ever watched, and do you think it still holds up today in terms of character growth, story and animation, etc.? This is a very well-structured question that I like. The first anime I ever watched was Yu Yu Hakusho, and I will never regret that because it does hold up in terms of all the things you just listed. Maybe not animation because it's from like 2 decades ago. It's just a different time, different technology, but it's still very solid. I still think it looks very, very solid in terms of that too. But the story is excellent. I am not a shonen person. I'm not a tournament arc person, but Yu Yu Hakusho knocks it out. Best tournament arc in all of anime, and just a very solid anime with great characters, great plot, great pacing, and I don't regret it for a second being my first anime, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. I still somewhere have the DVDs of it. It was definitely very important to me and got me into anime, and yeah, watch Yu Yu Hakusho. Okay, next question, and from the same person. Wow, aren't you lucky getting 2 features? Well, this was the only one that I actually had to pause and think about. It's actually a very good question. Is there a particular anime, movie, or episode based that changed your perspective on something in life? Something that affected you in a positive way and made you grow as a person? So this one was very interesting because I had to really think about it, and the anime that came to mind is not something that I would have really expected, but when I thought about an anime that affected me in a positive way, I think of the first season of Noragami. Now, I don't think it's like the greatest anime ever made. It's not my favorite anime of all time. It's still very solid. I would say it's like a 9 point something out of 10. Very good first season. But I think it was just a case of a storyline really connecting with me. And I think also watching it at like the perfect time in my life where it was kind of relating to things going on. I think watching Yato, his character growth and development throughout the first season was really awesome, where he's not a black and white character. It's like you don't really know who he is as time goes on. You see all different aspects of him, negative and positive, which is just like anyone else in the world, right? And he kind of pulls it all together in the end and shows that despite some flaws and, you know, seeing some tough times in his life, he pushes through and becomes a very good person. And it's also helped by the fact he has someone in his life that is really positive, like Hiyori, who's also a great character in the relationship, is really inspiring. And I think it just goes to show that everyone has the capacity for good, despite having many different parts of them. And I don't know. It's just, for some reason, that first season of Noragami really connected with me, and I think had a positive impact on some of my character. So, good question. Next one saying, are you planning on doing longer and more effort projects in the future? So, yes, I would like to go back into some more longer form videos. It doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I'm just going to up it to 40 minutes. But I think kind of some bigger projects that take some time and prep work are better for me. Like my channel right now is very reactionary, right? I wake up and see everything that's happening today and I react to it, right, in the moment. I don't do a lot of like planning in advance. And there's a lot of interesting projects that I can think of, and I kind of have to like will myself into slowly working on them in the background because those projects tend to be really good. Not everything has to come out the exact day it happens. That's kind of the problem with like drama content. It's only relevant for like 24 hours, and then you might as well not even talk about it. But there's a lot of things that you might find interesting or greater projects that are kind of timeless. Like whether I upload it today or in 2 months, it's going to be the same impact. And I think those are good for my channel. Like I said earlier, I want to push away from doing so much Twitter drama stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's a good route, doing some of those longer, more high effort type projects that take some some days and weeks to put together. The next question says, this may have been already asked, but how'd you get into anime and what inspired you to make a YouTube channel to make the videos you do? Well, I think in terms of getting into anime, I got into it when I was young with Yu Yu Hakusho, obviously, and a lot of my friends in middle school were into anime and it just kind of passed on to me. But there was a period for many years I just didn't watch anime when I was like late teens. I just stopped for some reason, and I think it was just getting busy with life and also being around a lot of people that didn't watch anime. And eventually I got back into it. And it's like my second life, my second chance in anime. And you know what the anime was that got me back in? The first season of Sword Art Online. Because I didn't really know anything. I was out of the loop with what was good with anime. And I think it was on Netflix. And I was like just scrolling through. I'm like, you know what? I want to give anime a chance again. And I'm like, you know, as an avid World of Warcraft player, I see a anime about getting trapped in an MMO. And I'm like, that sounds pretty good. And it seems like it's really popular. It must be really good. And then I watched it and was pretty critical. I thought the first half was actually very solid. But the second half, everything just unravels and becomes a mess. And, you know, there's a reason Sword Art Online, the first season at least, is a bit of a meme. But it got me back into the fight. It got me back into anime, and I started checking out better stuff from that point on. And from there, everything fell into motion. And really, only a couple years later, that's when I made my YouTube channel. And honestly, I made a YouTube channel. I was making like anime cracks and vines and memes by different names. I mean, that's basically what vines and cracks were. They were just memes, but a short format. But I got into it mainly just because I was bored. I'll be honest with you. I was just bored. I was in school. I didn't have a lot of free time, and I just didn't really know what to do with it. And I saw these type of shit posty videos, and I thought, well, I can do it. And I thought I would grow really quick. That didn't happen. It took a couple of years for things to really get into motion. I guess that's like the biggest takeaway, is that you need to really have a lot of tenacity to make it on YouTube. Very few people blow up quickly, and you have to actually enjoy what you're doing. Because if I didn't enjoy making those videos back then, I would have burned out. Like, you can only post so many videos and have them get no exposure before you kind of lose your mind, unless you actually like doing it and are not focused on growth and success like that, you know, solely. But yes, that's kind of what got me into it. And then eventually I wanted to do commentary, and it just took time for me to feel comfortable talking to an audience. At that point, I think I had like 100K subs, so it wasn't like I was doing it in front of nobody. So it just took some time to fall into what I wanted to do. So a very important next question. What is your favorite cut of steak and your favorite way of preparing and cooking it? I mean, I just like a good ribeye cooked medium. I used to be like a medium well person. I got food poisoned when I was a kid, and it kind of rattled with my brain a little bit. I didn't want to like risk getting sick with food. But now as I'm older, you know, I can have a medium rare. I can go that far, but a nice ribeye medium, really like that. And, you know, simple ingredients. A good steak doesn't need a lot of help. But that is a very important question. I'm glad you asked that. Everyone's been wondering. But moving on to the next one, saying, would you watch an actual anime series with VTubers? What genre would you think it would be? This is a good question. I think a VTuber-based anime would be really funny. I think my concept of it is like a slice of life featuring VTubers. Let's say like hololive, for example, right? And they have like their extensive lore, that they have all these powers and abilities. But here's like the twist, is that they're just a bunch of choonies, right? They're regular people who have like these fantasies of being all of these powerful VTuber personas. And they're just like hanging around, you know, cute girls doing cute things with a little bit of choony aspect to it, where they have these VTuber fantasies based on their lore. I think that would be pretty funny. But that's kind of my take on that. But here's another one saying, I know you cover VTubers quite a bit recently, but I'm curious, who's your favorite VTuber and why? Now, this is a potential trap, because my favorite VTuber is obviously my fiancée, darlingstrawb. But here's the thing, outside of her, I would say it's maybe unsurprising. It's Gargura. I mean, she really is just kind of the peak she's one of those people at the top of her industry that you look at and you go, yeah, she deserves to be there. You know, she has the talent, she has the effort, she has the personality, and she just delivers. Like, she has everything that you need to be a big success, and she delivers on every project she's involved in. And yeah, I've just been a fan since day one. Big time shrimp, and proud of it. And yeah. So let's end this video with one last question. Speaking of my fiance, it's crazy how I watched both you and Strawb, but never knew you two were together. So my question is, how did you guys get together? By the way, love your vids. I didn't even know this question was in here, but okay, real quick, how we met. I've talked about it on stream a bunch of times, but we met on Twitter. Yes, isn't it ironic that Twitter is like the hellscape of my life, but it is the place where I met my fiance. So how we met was I saw her leave a reply on one of my tweets, and it was kind of snarky. She had a little attitude. She was criticizing me, like, how dare this woman criticize me in any way? But I go to respond. Actually, before I respond, I go to check on her profile, and I see, like, she had a couple cute selfies on there, and I'm like, interesting stuff, interesting. And then I go to reply to her, but she deleted the reply. She must have gotten cold feet. I know I'm very intimidating, so maybe she got a little nervous, but for some reason, I thought she was cute, so I followed her back. And then I saw this post where she had hit 1K followers on Twitter. And instead of doing what most girls do on Twitter, like, I hit 1K followers, so I'm going to post my ass on Twitter. Here's your reward. She baked a strawberry cake and had, like, you know, thanks for the 1K on there. And I thought it was sweet. So I just, I messaged her, and that was pretty much it. I jumped in the DMs, and bing, bang, boom. About 5-6 months later, we met in real life. And then 5-6 months after that, we moved in together. And here we are, like 2 years after that, and we're getting married in a few months. So, you know, you never know. You never know who you're going to meet and how you're going to meet them. But I'm glad I did. So Twitter will always hold a piece of my heart. It can be a hellscape, but it did bring me the love of my life, so I'll be thankful for that. But that's going to do it for this Q&A. I hope you guys got some valuable insight into the man, the myth, the meme, Rev. And yeah, please share your thoughts down below. We should probably do another one of these another month or two. I think that'd be fun because this was a fun video. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.